Hey everyone, JCamman99 here, and welcome to my official predictions for the winners of the 90th Academy Awards, aka 2018 Oscars. I'm going to go through all 24 categories, and I'm going to do some extremely quickly, first time, and then other ones I'll spend a little bit more time on, especially the shorts, because those are kind of the toss-ups this year. So in order to review these, I'm going to do what I did last year. I'm going to give you what I think should win, what the experts are going to think, and then finally I'll give you my actual prediction in those three colors. I did an initial run through. It took me 55 minutes to go through this, so I'm going to try to go a lot faster as I'm going through this now. So here we go. So for best visual effects, if I had to choose, I would go between Star Wars and War of the Planet of the Apes. If I had to really bone pick, I'd go for the Planet of the Apes. I feel like between the three movies, they should really be recognized by the Academy. The experts actually agree. They also believe that Planet of the Apes should win. However, I am actually going to go against both myself and the experts for a couple of reasons. A, the BAFTAs did not pick War of the Planet of the Apes, and second of all, for visual effects, usually the picture that was at one point thought of as being in the Best Picture run usually has a chance of winning against the others that were not ever in that talks. And the only one of these pictures that were in those talks was Blade Runner 2049. So and again, it won the BAFTAs. So I am going to go with Blade Runner 2049 as the winner for Best Visual Effects. Okay, Best Film Editing. So this is another one where me and the experts agree, but I'm going to go in a different direction. I think that Dunkirk should win. The way that they edit the movie using the three time periods of an hour a day and a week is not exactly similar, but using three different time periods is almost like the last episode of TNG or Cloud Atlas that used very interesting editing tricks. And the only problem is that like Cloud Atlas, for example, was not nominated for an Oscar for Best Film Editing, so it seems like the Academy Awards don't really care about that. Hacksaw Ridge won for Best Film Editing, which is kind of why I think the experts are thinking Dunkirk. But I'll be honest with you, the BAFTAs kind of changed my mind, because in the BAFTAs, Baby Driver won, and Baby Driver was kind of my close second. And quite frankly, the pacing of the movie for Dunkirk was pretty slow, whereas the way it was edited for Baby Driver, you could actually follow along with the movie pretty well. And Hacksaw Ridge, same thing. You could follow the movie pretty well. Dunkirk, it's just really slow. So I'm actually going to go against my own idea and the experts. I'm going to go with Baby Driver officially as the winner for Best Film Editing. Okay, Best Costume Design. Once again, I'm actually going with the experts here, but against myself. I believe Shape of Water should win. The creature in the movie is a costume with a little bit of visual effects added on. And the fact that I pretty much thought it was CG the whole time, the fact that it's some dude in a costume and you don't really think about that, I think is amazing. However, there's a movie out there called Phantom Thread, which is about making costumes. It's literally about making dresses and stuff. So that seems to be the experts' pick. I don't really agree with that. I feel I don't agree. It's kind of like last year where La La Land was thinking it was going to win because of all the colors, and it's like no. I feel like this is going to be a surprise category. I truthfully believe that like a surprise is easily able to come through with the best costume design here. But I'm going to go with the experts on this one. The BAFTAs did it too, and that's kind of what's swaying me a little bit here. Otherwise, I would have gone Shape of Water. But I'm going to go with Phantom Thread for best costume design and hope for the best here. But again, there could be a surprise. All right, best makeup and hairstyling. I think this one's really, really easy. They completely transformed Gary Oldman into Winston Churchill, so hands down, Darkest Hour should win for best makeup and hairstyling here. Best cinematography. This one for me was really, really hard because all the cinematography was really good for all five of these movies. Like and I really had to go back and look at almost the trailers to give me my final decision. And when I watched the trailers, and I really just I stepped back and I'm like, don't worry about the movie. Think about the shots. Think about the lighting. The best one, hands down, is Blade Runner. I would actually say Darkest Hour is probably second choice, followed by Shape of Water. But when you look at the shot design, you look at the angles, you look at the lighting in particular, and how they redesigned the '80s style of looking what today should look like, and using all that, I think the cinematography was just brilliant for Blade Runner. So I'm going to give it to Blade Runner for best cinematography. Best production design. This is one of those things where when I saw Shape of Water, like when she walked into her apartment for the first time, I thought back to. And most of you will disagree with me on this. I thought back to Moulin Rouge, and I remember how much I hated Moulin Rouge's design, because like it took you out of. And Moulin Rouge is based on a real place in a real time, and yet it took you out of the world. Whereas Shape of Water is is a fable, and yeah, it's based in the world. But while you see the sets, I just looked at it and I'm like, wow, I really respect this design. And I felt like immediately while watching that movie that like all these designs should easily make it win for best production design when the Oscars come out. So I'm sticking with my original prediction. Experts say the same thing, so I'm going to go with The Shape of Water for best production design. Okay, I'm going to combine best sound editing and mixing because I don't really think anything separates the two in this particular year. Last year a little bit of a different story, but this year all the movies had a lot of sound or a lot of music editing mixed in with the sound. So it's not really a good year for sound editing winner. If there was going to be any surprise, I would say Baby Driver, maybe a few good sound editing thing because he's deaf and stuff, and I think there's a little bit of editing that was done there to make that effective. But I am actually going to go with Dunkirk for this. I mean, the way they incorporated music into the entire war effort was just incredible. Experts are also going with Dunkirk for both mixing and editing. So this counts for 2 awards. So for best sound editing and best sound mixing, I am going with my official prediction with Dunkirk for both movies. All right, best original song. I'm kind of going with the experts here because my idea isn't even close to what anybody else is thinking. I think Mystery of Love should win. I think it's the best song. I think it's the clear winner. But clearly, I'm the only one who thinks that, so it's not going to happen. I think in reality, it's going to be a toss-up between Remember Me and This Is Me. And I think Remember Me just edges it out. Just a little bit. I'm not a fan of either song, honestly. I don't hate either one of them. It's not like City of Stars, which I loathed, but I'm gonna just barely give it to Remember Me, and that's what the experts think as well. So let's say that Remember Me wins for best original song here. Best original score. It's funny what I did with this one is I literally just listened to all 5 scores and closed my eyes and I picked the best one, and it ended up being The Shape of Water. And the experts also say Shape of Water, so just between those 2 things, just hands down, I think The Shape of Water is going to win Best Original Score. Okay, so we're finally here. We're at the shorts, so I'm going to go through the shorts now a little bit extensively for those of you who want to know more about them. So Dear Basketball is a very interesting short. The way it almost has its flip page, hand-drawn stuff going back and forth between Kobe Bryant as a kid and as an adult. It's very moving, it's very effective, but here's the problem with it. If you watch it twice, like the first time you watch it, you're like, wow, this is pretty good. You watch it a second time, and you can find this on YouTube, and give it a shot. If you watch it the second time, that wonder kind of goes away, and you kind of see the film for what it is. It's just kind of a vanity project for Kobe Bryant on a day where he was being recognized for his number being retired. But at the same time, it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, are we really going to award a huge vanity project here for best animated short? I did say animated short. I hope I did there. All right, so then let's move on to the next one. Garden Party. Garden Party was really, really good, actually, in terms of the animation. The only thing that ruined Garden Party for me is it took a very dark turn, believe it or not. I mean, the animation looks like regular frogs, and I believe this was a student project. But then the wear and the darker imagery is kind of neat. But then at the very end, they did something really unnecessary. I'm not going to tell you what it is. That ruined the film for me. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to give this the award now. Like, there's no way. Lou. Lou is clearly for kids. It's like a little recess movie about bullying. It's about basically a bully taking a bunch of stuff and then finding something he once loved, and then in order to earn that back, he has to give back all the stuff he stole. And I think it's a really nice message about just, I mean, I know it's for kids, but I mean, we live in a world where people from as young as 10 to as old as 90 are on the same social media pages, and I mean, everyone's playing by the same rules now, regardless of age, and I think it's just a nice little reminder of bullying and what you can do to alleviate bullies, and remember that there are people too. It's kind of a weird way of looking at it, but it's also it's just an overall good message movie, and I really like that. Negative Space. It's just a short little French film. It's okay. There's nothing really that great about it. The audience I went with actually thought the ending was hilarious. I really didn't. And it's not worthy of one. Honestly, it's not even worthy of being in the Oscars, though, to be honest with you. Like, there was a black and white French movie that was done right after about a collector, and you think he's about to hang himself, and he doesn't. And I thought that movie was better, but it wasn't even nominated. And then finally, Revolting Rhymes. It's almost like an animated Once Upon a Time, like the show from ABC. So I thought that was actually a pretty good film. And I would actually, hands down, I would say that's the best one. But if I really had to pick which one I think is going to win, I would say Lou. But the experts say that Dear Basketball has the best shot right now. I really don't know why. Again, I think it's because those people aren't watching it twice. If you watch it twice, I don't think your second watch you'll have a strong opinion of it, and that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go against the experts here. I think for the shorts that's a good thing to do, because with the experts watching the shorts, I mean, how many experts are watching shorts? I'm sorry, the opinions aren't that much. I'm going to trust my opinions over the experts for the shorts. So I am going to go with Lou as best animated short. But again, Dear Basketball could win. And honestly, I'll just quickly back up. I think any of them could win except Negative Space. So, sorry. Okay, let's move on to best live action short. Okay, this is going to be really hard to go through because all these are really good. The Cowbell Elementary, that's about a school shooting scenario. It's suspenseful all the way through. The only problem with it is that the acting is kind of subpar. You don't really feel the emotions of the actors, and you almost feel like they're reading off a script pretty easily. But again, you're in suspense the entire time. Like, you don't know what this gunman's going to do. You don't know if anybody's going to get killed. There's a twist that almost happens where you would think that the innocent person might get killed. There's a lot to it, and I think that's really effective. The Silent Child is just almost flawless. There's a couple cliches where, like, a mom staring out the window looking at her deaf daughter getting along with her tutor. But I mean, the movie is just flawless in terms of its emotion, its acting, its set design, its technical aspects, everything. Like, it's just a flawless movie. It's really, really good, The Silent Child. Let's see here. There is also My Nephew Emmett. Now, My Nephew Emmett, it had a pretty slow beginning where and it's almost set in the same period as Mudbound, and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on here, whatever. And then it kind of had a Mudbound scene in it. I thought it had the best scene of all the 5 shorts, when the family is basically attacked and the one kid's basically killed off screen. I thought that was there was lots of high rising emotion there. And truthfully, when I left the theater, I thought that was going to be the one that the experts thought was the best one, which in this case it was not. And then 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock was about... it's an Australian movie where basically you got to figure out between 2 people which one's crazy and which one's a psychiatrist. So kind of a little funny little sketch there. And then finally, Watu Woke, All of Us. That one, and I hope I'm saying it right. the German movie, that one, it was just amazing. And when I was watching, I'm like, oh, this one's not that great. But then it turns, there's a shootout scene in the third act, and it's just really, really good. And it really talks about the issues between with Christians and Muslims in Africa. Basically, that's the simplest way of saying to what the movie's about. But it's done extremely, extremely well, and I recommend everybody check that movie out because it's not getting enough attention. And it was my second favorite short, quite honestly. So what was the one that I think should win? The one I think should win is The Silent Child. Like I said, it's very flawless. The one that people are picking are the DeKalb Elementary one, and I understand why, because it's a school shooting movie, and that is very prevalent in today's society, especially what just happened in Florida. I get it. I really, really do. My only problem with the movie, like I said before, is that the acting was subpar. And I mean, it's very low budget. It's in one room. The whole movie's in one room. So I mean, I don't see why that would why that would get the win. But that's what the experts are thinking right now. So in this case, I'm going against the experts, and I'm going with The Silent Child. And I have one more reason why. This might sound silly, but when the Oscars came out, the only Wikipedia page for any of those films was The Silent Child. That's the only one that had a Wikipedia page before it was nominated for an Oscar. And last year, Sting was the only one that had the Wikipedia page, and that won the Oscar. So just a thought. So I think Silent Child is going to win for best live action short. Best documentary short. Okay, I'm going to try to run through these quickly too. I know I'm kind of taking long, so I'll speed it up a little bit. Traffic Stop is about police issues. It's about a woman who gets arrested for speeding, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it does a good job at telling both sides of the story, because it also has the police has some police audio on it as well, which tells their side of the story without doing an interview, which is kind of a neat way of doing that. Edith and Eddie, I will admit, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh god, this could be a boring movie. But quite frankly, that was the most hard-hitting movie of them all. It's about a couple in their late 90s that get married, and how it affects their families and stuff like that. And I'm being very vague on this because I want people to actually go see this movie. I don't want to give it away. I highly, highly, highly recommend Edith and Eddie for anybody who's going through any family issues or anything like that. It's really hard to describe. It's heart-wrenching. Truthfully is, and it's really hard for a documentary to be that heart-wrenching, I think, on a personal level. So, I mean, you can see things that happen in the other end of the world, and oh my god, that's heart-wrenching. But then you can see something that you can easily relate to, and so I recommend that movie. Let's see, and then Heaven is a traffic jam on the 405. The 405 has nothing to do with this movie. It has to do with art. It has to do with disabilities. It has to do with mental health. It has to do with child abuse. Like, it has to do with so many different issues packed into one movie. And it's a good movie, but it's probably my least favorite of the five, quite honestly. And let's see here. Heroin. Heroin's a good movie. Heroin's about, literally heroin and opioids in West Virginia. And it talks about three women who are basically taking on the challenges of trying to improve their community. They follow a judge, they follow a first responder, they follow somebody who gives people food in the middle of the night, people who are walking the streets because they want drugs. I feel like it misses one crucial story element to the issue that the movie does not address, but it's not really the movie's fault, but I feel like that hurts the movie. And finally, Knife Skills. At first I thought Knife Skills was going to be about some dude cooking, but it's actually about people working in a fresh restaurant after they get released from prison. And it is a very effective movie, surprisingly. I did not expect it to be that good, but I thought it was a really, really, really good movie. And it would actually be my second favorite of these documentary shorts. But my favorite is actually Edith and Eddie. And truthfully, guys, if I hadn't seen Edith and Eddie, I would have never thought that. It's a movie you have to see to really appreciate it. And I have to give the experts credit, because the experts obviously saw this, because they also agree that Edith and Eddie is the best one. And it's kind of neat to watch all these and come up and come to the same conclusion as somebody, like by really giving it your all and really coming up with the same thing. It's pretty neat when that happens. So so yeah, hands down, I'm gonna go with Eddie or Edith and Eddie here. But again, any of these could win. The only one I would be a little surprised about would be the 405 movie. Okay, so let's move on to Best Documentary Feature. It's a little frustrating because I wasn't able to see all the movies because Faces Places is not anywhere out here. It's only available in theaters. Like, I'm not going to travel to New York City just to see it. It's just nowhere in the area. So I can't watch it all. So I can't give a 100% opinion on this category. If I had to choose based on the trailers I've seen, I would actually go with Small Enough to Jail. I think that one tells the story of both sides pretty good. But you know what? In this one, I'm going to go with Faces Places here. I'm going to go with the experts. And I'm going to say the Faces Places are going to win. I would love to go into the other documentaries, but I don't feel that it's fair because I haven't seen all 5. If I've seen all 5, I would go into details, but since I haven't, I'm just going to go with the experts on this one and trust that they have a point. So Faces Places here. Okay, Best Animated Feature Film. Actually, I'll be honest, I haven't seen any of these, but the fact that The Boss Baby is on there tells you it's been a bad year for the animated movies. Experts are saying Coco, so I'm just going to go with the experts here and say that Coco is going to win Best Animated Feature. Okay, so here we go. We're getting into the finals. Best Animated Screenplay. I think the Globes came out and there was they just did Best Screenplay, and Molly's Game was actually listed as one of the nominees, and Call Me by Your Name wasn't. So to me, I actually want to go with Molly's Game here. That would be my pick. I mean, it just seems like it would be the better screenplay. But the experts say Call Me by Your Name. It did win the BAFTAs, so I'm going to go with the experts here, and I'm going to say that Call Me by Your Name will win. But I do want to say that I believe this could be a category where an upset comes through, kind of like Her did a few years back, where like nobody really saw Her winning, but Her did win. So I'm going to say that Call Me by Your Name is going to win Best Adapted Screenplay. Okay, so let's talk about Best Original Screenplay. This seems to be the big one. I want to give it to Lady Bird. I think Lady Bird has the best script. It tells the story in a very natural way that's very, very believable. The experts want to give it to Get Out, ironically, which is not really that believable of a movie, because it's the horror movie. And I don't really agree with the experts on this one. I really liked Get Out, but I don't think it's the best screenplay. Or at least, well, what I should say is I don't think it's going to win, actually. Like I said, I think Lady Bird's the best screenplay. But I think the movie that actually will win is Three Billboards. I mean, it already won a couple screenplay awards, so why will it not win this one? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to go with Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri as Best Original Screenplay. Okay. So Best Supporting Actress. It's going to come down between Laurie Metcalf and Allison Janney. Allison Janney has swept. She's won every award so far. I really liked Laurie Metcalf's role as a complicated mother, like a mother who isn't just a bad mother or a good mother, but she's complicated. I mean, that makes total sense. That's how all mothers are. But Allison Janney really played her role really, really well, and she deserves to win, quite frankly. So I'm going to say that, even though I would like to see Laurie Metcalf win, experts are already going with Allison Janney for obvious reasons. So I say Allison Janney is going to win for Best Supporting Actress. Okay, I'm going to try to explain this without getting too upset. Best Supporting Actor. I believe Woody Harrelson should win. I think he did the best of the 5 supporting actors. I believe that fully. However, Sam Rockwell has won every single one. And in Sam Rockwell's defense, he did play a character that is not much like his personality, whereas, I hate to say this, even though I really liked what Woody Harrelson did, I actually cried at one of the things that he did in the movie. But what happened, when you see him, it's still Woody Harrelson. Everybody knows it. He just played a really good role. I hate to say it. But when you're watching the movie, you know it's Woody Harrelson as this guy. Whereas Sam Rockwell, I mean, when I realized that was the same guy who played the bad guy in Iron Man 2, I didn't really believe it, you know? So, I mean, I think that's an interesting way of looking at it. So, but I really believe Woody Harrelson's role is better. I mean, William Dafoe came into this as the front runner, and no one's even talking about him anymore. I don't believe Sam Rockwell deserves this because of what happened with his character in the movie. He was a jerk for the first 2/3, and then he reads a letter and he's suddenly reformed, and we're all supposed to accept it. It makes no sense. And it angers me a lot, actually, that's the way it is. But whatever. I mean, it's not about what the story was. It's about what he did. And when you look at it narrowly at that angle, I can understand why he would get it. So my prediction, of course, is Sam Rockwell for Best Supporting Actor. So that being said, let's move on to Best Supporting Actress. I believe it should be Saoirse Ronan, quite easily, to be honest with you. Look at her body of work, going back to Atonement. She is an amazing actress, okay? Like, hands down. But she doesn't seem to get the credit for it. And then Sally Hawkins, she did the entire thing without having to talk. Margot Robbie did a great Tonya Harding, but somehow Frances McDormand is getting all the credit here for a movie where she was handpicked to do. And when you see her talking, and then when you see her character, I mean, obviously there's a difference, but it's not a huge, strong difference. I hate to say it. And it's just, I don't believe she should win. I mean, I could go on a rampage here. I'm not going to. I believe Saoirse Ronan should win. She's not going to, though. She would have won something by now. Now, she did win the comedy award at the Globe, so there's a slight possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to go to Frances McDormand. I mean, she almost won the Best Actor at the BAFTAs. So Frances McDormand is what the experts say, and I'm going to officially predict that Frances McDormand is going to win. Okay, Best Actor. I'm going to make this one really quick. Gary Oldman basically transformed into Winston Churchill for Darkest Hour, so he's got to win this hands down. Maybe Daniel Day-Lewis, maybe Daniel Kaluuya could upset. And I believe, I'm going to say this really fast, I believe there will be an actor upset in one of those 4 categories. And I can't wait to see it, because I would love to see it. I really hope it happens. And except in this category, Gary Oldman deserves this. So I'm going to go with Gary Oldman here for Best Actor. Best Director, I think it's pretty easy too. I'm very happy that Greta Gerwig and Jordan Peele got in, but Guillermo del Toro should seriously, easily win this. He's won every award for Shape of Water for this, so it's clearly his passionate movie, and he deserves it. So I'm going to say Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water wins for Best Director. Finally, we're on to Best Picture, so I'm going to try to summarize this as much as I can. I think Lady Bird should win Best Picture. That's what I believe. Lady Bird, I believe, is the best movie of the year by far. It has the best script, has really good directing, and you feel every emotion that this girl's going through. I'm a guy, but I still feel like the adolescence. I remember how it was with parents. I remember how it is growing up and going through your senior year, first loves, and all that good stuff. Everyone goes through all that. I believe it's easily the best picture, and almost any other year it could easily win, honestly. But the experts are splitting it down between The Shape of Water and 3 Billboards, and it's honestly kind of hard to figure it out. Shape of Water was a great movie. It kept you suspensefully going the whole way through, and I actually liked the way it ended. I know there's been some controversy about that, but I liked how the movie ended. And I kind of called something at the beginning of the movie, and I'm like, I bet it ends like this, and I called it, so I think that's part of the reason I liked it. 3 Billboards, kind of the opposite for me. I hated how it ended. The first 2/3 of the movie were great. I told you, I was moved to tears at one point. But then Sam Rockwell's character read a letter, and his personality completely changed. He suddenly became a good cop. There's no way that cop would even be a cop, and it escapes reality. That's what bothers me. He beats a guy up. He throws him out a window. He doesn't get arrested for it at all. Frances McDormand's character, well, she does go down to the police station, but she should have been charged too. She drills a hole in the guy's hand. Should have been charged for it. And then at the very end, yeah, I'm going into spoilers here, I'm sorry. The two, Frances McDormand and Sam Rockwell, decide, hey, you know what, this guy who definitely did not kill your daughter, we're going to go out and kill him anyway. And the movie ends on that, them driving off basically into the sunset with a horrible song playing on the radio or in the background. I don't know where the song was coming from. Stupid song. And it stays on the song for like a minute, and then the movie fades out. And it was just a horrible ending to a movie that had really good promise. But, that being said, I believe this one, I think it's going to win Best Original Screenplay, and even if it didn't, I still feel it would win Best Picture. It got the Globes, it got BAFTAs. I know BAFTAs, it's already there. I'm running out of time, so 3 Billboards is going to win. And now for the final one of the evening, the one you've all been waiting for, Best Foreign Language Film. Just kidding, it just happens to be last. Unfortunately, I can't see any of these films around here, so I have no clue on this one, guys. I apologize. I watched the trailers, though. My favorite trailer was The Insult from Lebanon, and I think it'd be cool if a Lebanon film won, but the experts are saying that A Fantastic Woman looks like it's going to win, and the actress does look like she has a lot going on there. She looks like a good actress there. So I'm just going to go with the experts and trust them on this one and just say A Fantastic Woman is going to win the Best Foreign Language Film out of Chile this year. Thank you so much for watching this, and take care, everybody, and I'll make a recap movie afterwards. So thank you very much. Take care.